You see this team, and they're talking about A.J. Brown still. It's an injury. We want him. Are we going to ship him? This situation has to play out in the sense of, I think he wants to be there, but at the end of the day, you can't disrupt the locker room every single week. And the Eagles need him to be there if they're going to make a Super Bowl run.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The playoff matchups for Asher Genty are not great. We start to look ahead. I know it's early, but it's not that early. So Genty, I think, is still a better long-term guy than it is maybe a redraft situation, especially with the schedule maps out. But I don't see a lot of games where he's potentially in a situation where the Raiders are ahead and running the football a ton, if you know what I mean. It's kind of tough out there for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Are they chanting? Is it over? Does he
They'll be
accept
gone
the
by
resignation?
halftime. No,
Are they chanting fire, Brian
probably.
Kelly?
Yeah,
Clap, clap,
it would
clap,
be.
clap,
It
clap.
would be warranted. It would be. I mean, you won a national championship in 2019. You're getting top 5, top 10 recruiting classes each and every year. You had the quarterback back to back to back to back. How many more chances are you going to get? I mean, really, what are we doing here?
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
One playoff win, and it's been a train wreck in every other year. But if we all agree that he was right in how he handicapped the quarterback talent coming out of that draft, and they got the right guy, and I think we all do agree on that, then what's the benefit of bringing a totally new voice into the room to now be the coach of Jackson Dart?
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Oh, happy Halloween on October 31st, 2025. Spooky gatherings tonight. And last night in the Northeast, it's called Mischief Night. The only thing mischievous last night was the fact that I couldn't get any rushing touchdowns out of the Baltimore Ravens, and Zay Flowers couldn't get 65 yards. He got 64. And on Joe's side of things, the Miami Heat, 5.5. Stop it. They lost by 6. Enough with this stuff. It's trick or treat tonight, and we're getting the treats. It's the early line. It's the SportsGrid Network. It's Donnie Wright. Whoa, ho, 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 ho. You hear the screaming, Joe. Let's scream for victories tonight. How's that sound, Joe?
I love it, man. Yeah, Donnie, listen, it just goes to show the old adage, and it's case in point last night with us. Getting the best of the number matters, right? So every half a point matters. So make sure that when we say it all the time as sports bettors, make sure you get the best number possible. And case in point last night.
Oh, my goodness. Those nights are going to happen, certainly. But it's a big-time weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You got baseball action, NBA, NHL, college football, and the NFL. If you need caffeination, there's something wrong. But here's Caffeinated Joe.
Well, Donnie, today this one is for all the NBA haters out there. To those that say the NBA product sucks, nobody's watching, it's boring, all they do is chuck up threes, it's ruining basketball, the ratings are in the tank. Well, last night, Donnie, I was watching the Miami Heat play the Spurs because watching the Miami Dolphins play football, I'd rather stick needles in my eyes. But I did see something very interesting because on that court last night was the next generation of NBA players. And I'm watching defense being played, effort being made to actually get to the hoop, not just a bunch of threes being chucked up, not to mention a generational talent that is going to be around this league for the next couple of decades who is just an immovable force. And I realized, the NBA is in good hands. And maybe more people are starting to see that because last season, again, the ratings were down, Donnie, and it fed that narrative that nobody's watching the NBA. It's a terrible product. Well, fast forward to this season, Donnie, because the NBA is back on network TV on NBC. And wouldn't you know it, Donnie, they released the ratings yesterday for what the NBA has now done to start the season. And guess what? The ratings are through the roof. But how can that be? Because I looked at the numbers, Donnie. Last year, we had only 4 teams in a league that averaged 43 pointers a game. This year, there are 10 teams doing that, Donnie. 10 teams. They're shooting more threes than they ever have before. So how does that work? How can the product be so terrible and yet the ratings be through the roof? Well, the product was never the problem, Donnie. It was ever the problem. The problem was accessibility. As it turns out, you might want to take a break here and sit down for this. If your games aren't on expensive, hard-to-find cable channels or regional networks, and you actually put them on network television, Donnie, where people can actually see them and find them, more people are going to watch. I know it's a shocking concept. Yet we sit here every Sunday, Donnie, and watch 10 hours of just absolutely unwatchable Miami Dolphins NFL football. Bad offenses, sloppy play. Nobody says a word about the product because the ratings are through the roof and it's an absolutely multi-billion-dollar franchise. The NBA? Well, they are giving us, Donnie, on an every night here, incredible, star-driven, great efforts, great basketball. The problem was it was locked behind this vault of expensive cable packages and other streaming networks. So I'm here to tell you, the product has never been the problem. The accessibility was the problem. And now the league has finally made the games accessible again. And guess what, Donnie? The NBA ratings are through the roof. And it's proving once again that the NBA is far from dead, Donnie. It's just getting started.
Absolutely. And by the way, case in point for boxing, used to be the sport of kings there in the 70s and early 80s. The biggest fights, channel ABC in the middle of the afternoon on a Saturday. Oh, wonder why the sport died. Starts after midnight on a pay-per-view network. That's what you get at this point. Great caffeinated Joe to get you ready on a football Friday, right here on the SportsGrid Network, and a Halloween Friday. Let's get to the early lineup and the biggest stories, which included Lamar Jackson was coming back to the Ravens. What would we see? And by the way, Lamar Jackson did throw 4 touchdown passes, 204 passing yards, a passer rate of 143.2. But he wasn't the same Lamar Jackson we saw. Wasn't really that fast in the pocket, but it didn't matter. Why? Because the Dolphins absolutely stink and shot themselves in the foot repeatedly. Lamar comes back triumphantly here. And the Baltimore Ravens at 3-5, their season just got started.
Yeah, listen, it's we said it yesterday. It is playoff football from here on out. You had to figure there was going to be a little bit of rust in Lamar in that game, and there certainly was. But the good news is they didn't really need him to do a whole heck of a lot, although the Miami defense did its job, Donnie. I mean, they outgained and held Lamar in that offense in the first half to just over 100 yards of total offense. Meanwhile, Miami had well over 200 yards. So the defense held up for a little while there for Miami, but ultimately, if you can't score points, you can't win, and Lamar noticed that.
Yeah, and by the way, noticing victories and having great performances, we expect that out of Lamar Jackson. They throttled the Miami Dolphins, just took their foot off the gas pedal in the second half. How about Victor Wembanyama? We talk about a guy that comes into the NBA still trying to fill out his body, growing a few inches over the summer. He is an absolute terror. Joe, last night, 40 minutes played, 27 points, 18 rebounds, 6 assists, and 5 blocks. He's just touching the surface on what he's going to be capable of doing. This guy is an absolute cheat code. He's fantastic. And you know what? Maybe so are the Spurs at 5-0.
It's unbelievable, Donnie. I mean, really, it kind of is. I watched him last night, and it's a throwback. I mean, you can just see at 21 years old, what is this kid going to be at 26, 27, Donnie? He is just, it's so great watching him play the game of basketball. Haven't seen something like this in a very, very long time. If you get a chance to watch him, watch this kid play basketball. It is a pleasure.
Let's get to this next topic here. Matt Rule signed a 2-year extension to 2032. It's 2025 right now. He doesn't beat any ranked opponents at a massive school that has unlimited funds to pay players and NIL and also head coaches. They used to tell you, hey, teach your kid how to throw a baseball left-handed or be a switch hitter. Don't do that. Just teach your kid X's and O's, put him in front of a room where he can command a crowd, and he will get a job being a Division I head coach and be minted and paid for life, regardless of winning anything at any institution they ever go to.
Yes, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, let me now introduce you to a word known as leverage. And that is exactly what Matt Rule had there, because the more people talked about him in Penn State, the faster they put a pen to paper and put a contract extension together for Matt Rule at Nebraska. Unbelievable, Donnie.
Yeah, whatever leverage he has, I'll tell you who doesn't have any leverage, Scott Woodward. When the governor comes out and Democrats, Republicans speak against you, sooner than later at a state school, you will find yourself out of that job. It didn't even take a day yesterday, Joe.
Yeah, I think why the governor was holding that press conference, in fact, they were actually boxing his office up and basically left it outside the door and revoked all his passes. Yeah, that was the next logic. If he still would have had a job today, Donnie, I'd have been scratching my head.
Unbelievable stuff here. Also, how about Blake Butera? This guy is young. I mean, he might be able to be my son. He's a manager of a Major League Baseball team, Blake Butera, to the Washington Nationals.
Yeah, boy, the game has changed, Donnie. The game is absolutely, this would never have happened ever in the history of Major League Baseball. Well, kudos, congrats.
Incredible. Usually it's a 75-year-old guy that just tells you the way it is. Not anymore. Read that analytics on your spreadsheet. How about the LA Lakers? Mark Walter approved as owner of the team. Now they can buy all the superstars they want, defer all the contracts 10 years.
That's exactly what's going to happen. Mark my words. That's what's going to happen. The Buss family, bye-bye.
Gervonta Davis, bye-bye to him, I guess, accused of domestic violence. Is this like the first, second, third, or fourth time here allegedly being accused of it here? But that is the early lineup here, and my goodness, we have a show for you, which includes spread lines coming up. It's a Football Friday. It's Halloween. It's Joe Ranieri. It's Donnie Rightside. It's the SportsGrid Network, and we'll be right back.
What have the Jays done all season long? And you've seen it, Kev, as a fan of the AL East. They get murdered or lose a heartbreaking game and come back and punch you in the face. They're not. It's what, like the old Jays team used to fold, and that's what I used to hate about them. These guys are different. They're like guys you go to war with. It's like, man, you're my buddy. Like, let's go. Like, their clubhouse dynamic, I've never seen a Blue Jay team where everyone gets along.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
It's going to be called Truth Predict, and it will take bets not just in all 50 states, but worldwide, it says, on political elections. So those are elections potentially involving Donald Trump or, people related to him, interest and inflation rate changes, the price of gold and crude oil, and of course, events across all major sports leagues. Half a dozen states have already filed lawsuits against this.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
I think a divorce is coming. I don't think LeBron finishes the year with the LA Lakers. And the Trump card he tried to play has backfired on him big time. And I'm here for all the smoke. I got my marshmallows. I got my skewers. I got the fireplace. I'm going to sit back, kicking my feet, and watch the LA dysfunction play out in real time.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Brock Bowers had a full practice back in. Before he got injured, he looked like he was going to be the wrecking ball we knew he could be. He says he's close to 100%. Also, Jacoby Myers, their top wide receiver, got in the full practice on Wednesday as well. Help is on the way for the Raiders. Not to say that they're going to win this football game or have a great run of the season, but I think you might get a different look Raiders this week with Brock Bowers and the boys coming back.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Happy Halloween out there to everybody who participates. And by the way, as a kid, isn't Joe Friday the perfect day for Halloween as a kid? You can stay out as late as you want. You got the whole weekend to recover. We used to go to school sometimes and Halloween would fall on a Monday as a kid. That's terrible. Yeah, I would be screaming as well. We got to be in before the light. It gets dark outside, but it is a happy Halloween. It is a Football Friday, and it's time to get down to your top spread lines for today, which includes a scary Bill Belichick, and a scary Syracuse squad. Both of these teams stink this year in the ACC, squaring up at 7:30 tonight. Trick or treat, 45.5 is the actual total this game, and a favorite for Syracuse at -2.5. Carolina, Chapel Bill invades Syracuse. What's that spread line for this game, Joe?
Well, it's not going well in Chapel Bill this season, obviously, here. But I'll tell you this, for all of the faults, I do give them credit because they were a half an inch short last week of going for it in overtime against a top 25 team in Virginia and came just a little short. They could be 3-4. Instead, they're 2-5 on the season. And the one noticeable thing about the North Carolina team is after they got absolutely waxed by TCU in that opening game, it was clear there were some issues on the offensive side of the ball and defensive side of the ball. But ever since that game, Donnie, the defense, Belichick, you know that's his specialty. This is a legit defense here. They have been playing out of their mind. They are only giving up about 3.6 yards per play over the last 5 games. So this is a legit defense. The offense is still horrific. But guess what? So is Syracuse's. Don't forget, Agnelli, they lost him in that Clemson game. He is out for the year when he broke his leg, and it's been all downhill. Both of these teams have quarterbacks that have more interceptions than actual touchdown passes. Both defenses, the best unit on this field is North Carolina's defense, which is why you saw this total, Donnie, open up at 47.5, and it's sitting at 45.5, and I would not be surprised if this goes 45, 44.5 before kickoff. So if you like high-scoring games, don't watch this one, but get the under bet in sooner rather than later.
Tomorrow, we will embark on the month of November, which means we're only a few weeks away from Thanksgiving, having that turkey feast here. But before we get there, we're feasting on some college football. And tomorrow, that includes a late-night game. The Cincinnati Bearcats go to the Must to take on the Utah Utes. This line, Joe, opened up around a touchdown. I'm seeing now some outlets north of 10 points here as a favorite towards the home team, Utah. Total in this game, sitting at 54.5. The Bearcats. What is the spread line here for you, Joe?
Well, it's crazy, Donnie, right? Because we're talking about two of the best teams in the Big 12, right? Utah has had their issues, obviously, but nobody is treating them like they've had any issues here. And what else is Cincinnati supposed to do? Now, they are going to be down their top running back for this game, which is why we've seen this line go to double digits here. But Sorsby has been one of the best quarterbacks in college football that nobody is talking about. They got a ton of weapons here. Never easy taking on Utah. We get that. But this line, Donnie, has gotten out of control, and I don't see it going back the other way. So 10.5 points, it might get a little bit higher before kick, but I'm all over it. I'll take as many points as you want to give me with this Cincinnati team.
Sunday action in the NFL. It is week number 9. The Chicago Bears on the road to take on Cincinnati and Joe Flacco. Where did we see Cincinnati last week? Well, they got beat by the New York Jets. That's embarrassing. And Joe Flacco having some issues with his shoulder, but tracking towards playing this weekend. The favorite, the Bears. The total, 50.5 to 51.5. What's the spread line for this game for you, Joe?
Well, that's good news for the Bengals with Flacco going, because ever since, he's gotten there, they've been averaging about 35 points per game here, Donnie. They have figured it out, to say the least here. Now, the problem is, and he's getting the ball out really, really well. The problem is both of these defenses. Hendrickson not going to be in this game likely. The secondary is still decimated for the Chicago Bears. And if Flacco can go in there and just maintain the status quo, get it to the playmakers, we're going to get a ton of points in this game, Donnie, which is why you've seen this total go from 47.5 now to 51.5 in the marketplace. And if we're being honest, Donnie, it ain't high enough as far as I'm concerned here. Neither of these defenses can be trusted. This could be the highest scoring game of the afternoon between Chicago and Cincinnati.
Absolutely. How about this game here? The New York Giants damaged and injured, but still have NFL Rookie of the Month Jackson Dart here under center. A 2.5-point favorite for the San Francisco 49ers on the road to take on the Giants in a total of 48.5. We're expecting points in this game. Mac Jones got a clear practice yesterday, probably trending more on starting over Brock Purdy. We'll see who gets to the gate. But what is your spread line for this game between the 49ers and the Giants, Joe?
No, you nailed it there, Donnie. 2.5 has been locked in one way or the other. You're not going to get it to 3. It's not going to go to 3. There's not going to be any crazy 49er money in. If anything, it might go the other way. But what bettors, both the pros and the Joes, have focused on in this game, Donnie, is that total. That total opened up at 45.5, and it has been bet up, like you said, to 48.5. And it would not shock me if it continues to rise here. So there is this prevailing thought with both the public and the pros that we're getting points in this game, and we might likely do that given the decimated secondary defensive line and all the issues the 49ers have with injuries on the defense right now.
Game 6 tonight, World Series in Toronto. The Dodgers taking on the Blue Jays here. Yamamoto versus Gaussman. The line here in that mid-140s, depending on where you're shopping at, and a total listed at 7.5. Dodgers, Jays, Joe, what is the spread line for tonight's Game 6?
Well, here we go again, Donnie, right? 7.5 here. Yamamoto has got to save the day one more time. 18.5 outs is an interesting prop for Yamamoto here. Does Dave Roberts trust that bullpen enough? Will they let Yamamoto do as much and go as long as humanly possible here? It is all hands on deck for the Dodgers. But, Donnie, once again, what we're starting to see is a lot of money coming in on Toronto in this spot here. All the value on Toronto to close it out. Nobody there wants a Game 7. Plus money might be your last opportunity to get it in Major League Baseball.
I want a Game 7. Why? I'll probably be asleep before first pitch tonight because I got to wake up early for the people and do college football today in studio. Give me Game 7. I can wait up Saturday. And by the way, fall back on the clocks on Sunday. We sleep late. Yes.
What have the Jays done all season long? And you've seen it, Kev, as a fan of the AL East. They get murdered or lose a heartbreaking game and come back and punch you in the face. They're not. It's what, like the old Jays team used to fold, and that's what I used to hate about them. These guys are different. They're like guys you go to war with. It's like, man, you're my buddy. Like, let's go. Like, their clubhouse dynamic, I've never seen a Blue Jay team where everyone gets along.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Going to be called Truth Predict, and it will take bets not just in all 50 states, but worldwide, it says, on political elections. So those are elections potentially involving Donald Trump or, people related to him, interest and inflation rate changes, the price of gold and crude oil, and of course, events across all major sports leagues. Half a dozen states have already filed lawsuits against this.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
I think a divorce is coming. I don't think LeBron finishes the year with the LA Lakers. And the Trump card he tried to play has backfired on him big time. And I'm here for all the smoke. I got my marshmallows. I got my skewers. I got the fireplace. I'm going to sit back, kicking my feet, and watch the LA dysfunction play out in real time.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Brock Bowers got a full practice back in. Before he got injured, he looked like he was going to be the wrecking ball we knew he could be. He says he's close to 100%. Also, Jacoby Myers, their top wide receiver, got in the full practice on Wednesday as well. Help is on the way for the Raiders. Not to say that they're going to win this football game or have a great run of the season, but I think you might get a different look Raiders this week with Brock Bowers and the boys coming back.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Oh boy, Mike McDaniel, what are we going to do with you and your Miami Dolphins as they now sit at 2-7 after an embarrassing performance in prime time in front of a national audience the day before Halloween? 28-6 was the final. The Baltimore Ravens easily dispatched the Miami Dolphins. Lamar Jackson and his triumphant return. 23 passing attempts, 204 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions. Now, let me understand this. You had a first and goal 3 different times in this. I didn't get a rushing touchdown to Derrick Henry. I needed 2 rushing touchdowns here. And by the way, did you people watch the first drive of the game for the Baltimore Ravens after the strip and fumble where you had a first and goal from the inch-yard line and I couldn't get a rushing touchdown? All right, enough about me. Back to the game here. The Ravens steamroll the Dolphins as 7.5-point favorites. The total stays under. Why, Joe? Because the Dolphins were completely inept on offense. Nobody even scored in the fourth quarter. Why? Because the Ravens didn't need to. And by the way, if you had a team total on the Ravens, you didn't even hit that. It was 30.5 points. Ouch, all the way around.
Yeah, that was just rough. It was over in the first half, Donnie. The Dolphins outgained the Ravens 225 yards to 109 in the first half, and they had only 2 field goals to show for it. Multiple stupid mistakes here, shooting themselves in the foot, including a 4th and 1 in the red zone, which, of course, a false start. And now they got to settle for a field goal for 29 yards, which, of course, they ended up missing. And then you had Washington go ahead and fumble in the red zone for Miami. I mean, all in all, just absolutely awful. 3 turnovers in all for the Miami Dolphins. Even though, Donnie, when you look at the final numbers, the Dolphins and the Ravens, same amount of yardage. The difference, 3 for 3 in the red zone for Baltimore and 3 turnovers to none for the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, Jalen Waddle, 6 for 82. You take a look at Zay Flowers, 5 for 64. He couldn't get to 65 yards, my guy, holding me back. But Derrick Henry, 19 carries, 119 yards, 6.3 yards per carry. And by the way, one of the team props you could have bet yesterday on the Baltimore Ravens, will they rush for more than 30.5 attempts? See what they got down there? 31 attempts for 150 yards. And by the way, if you say, hey, man, 150 yards, that's great. The team prop on Baltimore was in the 160s here. So you didn't even cover that with 150 yards on the ground. Now, let's get to some Lamar Jackson highlights here in this. 4 touchdown passes, no interceptions. You absolutely love that. But also understand this. This wasn't the Lamar Jackson we're used to seeing, Joe, and it was apparent early in the game. He did end up running 5 times for only 14 yards. The explosiveness wasn't there, but he's still better than having any other option that you have at backup quarterback or backup quarterback, let's just say, for the Baltimore Ravens. Who'll get better, and also the best part about playing on a Thursday night, Joe, you get the mini bye built in. So Lamar's going to get healthier as the season turns around, but I'm sure for the Ravens, just getting their signal caller back probably felt great, and then coming away with an easy victory and propelling yourself down the stretch for the second half of the NFL season.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you knew the rust was going to be there, right, Donnie? It looked like that in the first half, but they were able to take advantage of the turnover there inside the Miami 20-yard line there early on in the first. Advanced that, was able to get Derrick Henry involved, but once they came out in the third quarter, they looked like an entirely different offense here. He started to get into rhythm. They started moving the ball, moving the chains. And then, of course, by the time they got to the fourth quarter, it was just basically at that point, let's get out of here with the win and nobody get hurt.
Yeah, and by the way, let's take a look at the Miami Dolphins here, because the Ravens are back. They're favored to actually win their division. How crazy it sounds. They're probably already a better team than the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Steelers got a tough game this weekend against the Colts. That, deficit could be shortening by the day for the Ravens to take over first place. But the Miami Dolphins now, they sit at 2-7. It's clear it hasn't worked. Now, yes, they had a bounce-back performance last week against the Atlanta Falcons, and they look good doing it. But this is one of those games, Thursday Night Football, show us what you got. You put your cards on the table, and it was absolutely terrible. 2-7 now in the season, 1-3 at home. National embarrassment here. What changes with the Miami Dolphins? Because understand this. Maybe it's not the coach, but I saw Chop Robinson leave yesterday with a concussion. There are players on that team that are up for grabs now in the trade market, which next week is the trade deadline. Are we going to see the absolute white flag wave this weekend, which could include a new head coach?
It's so hard to figure out, though, because we know the Dolphins are not good enough to beat themselves and also beat the other team on the other sideline, right? So we know this. So they're not doing all the little things correct. 225 yards to 109 in the first half, and you were down 14-6. That's because you beat yourself, and that's the problem with the Miami Dolphins.
It's amazing to watch this play at a team that was so talented, looked to be one of the more fun franchises over the past couple years, just crumbling right now due to injury, bad play, and maybe just bad coaching at this point right now. I'll tell you, we're not getting any bad play in the World Series. It's Game 6 tonight. Let's talk about it next right here on the Early Line.
they got to go win and execute, and they can't be inconsistent. And that's the thing. It's like Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon, really consistent. And then who is that fourth question mark? And there's been inconsistencies throughout. Hey, Michigan goes out to the West Coast and gets manhandled, and then they come back and then they win. Like, who's the consistent one that is the fourth?
The Bobby Carpenter Show, only on SportsGrid.
Listen, never understood a word he said, but it doesn't matter because he was able to walk into living rooms and get kids to sign. It's a little different situation with the NIL now, but the reality is he represents Louisiana. He is Mr. Louisiana. What better? You should have never fired him to begin with in this spot. So, yeah, I hope they do reconsider and bring him back.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
There's a far longer track record of the Chiefs laying huge numbers and not covering them with Mahomes than anything on the contrary.
And they did that a lot last year where they didn't cover those numbers, but a lot of the time last year they didn't have Rice and they weren't fully healthy, and now they are fully healthy. And now we have an offense that has 4 viable receivers, 2 tight ends, and 2 running backs.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
24 points, and 23 rebounds. Folks, let me tell you something. That's 23 rebounds versus Tennessee. Not Tennessee Tech, not Tennessee Chattanooga, not East Tennessee, West Tennessee, South Tennessee. I don't know how many Tennessees they got in that state. That's a university. He did it against Rick Barnes' kids.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to talk some World Series baseball in just a few moments here. But yesterday, we had a young kid get hired as a manager for the Washington Nationals, 33 years old. And that's not even maybe the most interesting hire of the offseason. It was Tennessee's baseball coach going to become a manager in the pros. And that was Mr. Vitello here. He had a press conference yesterday and some things to tell the fans out there in San Fran.
I have spent some, I know it'll be a question later, I have spent some time around this organization, either as a fan or just watching, or again, through business ways. I'm fully aware of the tradition that's here and the excellence that's been brought by managers like Bochy, Dusty Baker, the toughness from guys like Baumgartner and Romo, the loyalty, which is incredibly important, word to me and my family, which is epitomized by the guy to my right. The records that have been set by guys like Bonds and Mays and Lincecum and everybody else. And then, the one thing that always got to me was the family, the sense of family that was a part of this organization. And one of the players I coached came up during Hunter Pence's playing days and just talked about how good that guy was to everybody in the organization, especially younger aspiring players and rookies. So there's a lot to learn from the past. And there is very high expectations, very high standards to meet because of the past.
Welcome into the Giants show. Best thing I could say there is I hope you can read a spreadsheet, because that's all you're going to be doing as manager of the Giants.
I would have much preferred if he just came out, Donnie, and was like, listen, I promise this guy to my right, when he sends me who to put on the lineup card, I will spell every name correctly, and I will make sure, word for word, I do everything this guy on the right tells me to do, because that is all managers in Major League Baseball have become.
Exactly. Now, the Giants are watching the postseason just like about everybody else outside of just 2 teams. That's the Dodgers and the Toronto Blue Jays. For Game 6 tonight in the 6th, the crowd should be rocking. An 8 o'clock start tonight from Toronto, Yamamoto versus Gaussman. The line opened up at -142, Joe. It's still sitting there at FanDuel. 149 at DraftKings, 140 at BetMGM, 150 at Bet365. So make sure you're shopping around to get the best possible pricing in a total that sits at 7.5. The expectations are a championship is on the line. The winner tonight, if it is Toronto, they will be World Series champion. The winner tonight, if it is the Dodgers, we get a Game 7 on Saturday night for all of the marbles. How does this game play out, knowing that Yamamoto has been nothing short of spectacular? But then again, there's that Toronto lineup that just doesn't give a damn who your pitcher is, Joe.
Yeah, I think what we're starting to see here, and I think we've had signs of this, is that, it's not like the Blue Jays won 75 games, and made it in by the skin of their teeth, Donnie, and they're just playing so far over their head. They were the best team in the American League, and they showed it all throughout the playoffs here. And the Dodgers were not the best team during the regular season, and they got a lot of holes up and down, a lot of warts on this team. Now, granted, all four of their number one stud starting pitchers have been available, which is kind of crazy this time of year. Not a lot of teams can say that. But they have, their position players are all getting older here, Donnie. They've got a payroll through the roof. I don't know that they come out and there is a Game 7. I really don't think they do. I think it's a big ask. I don't know that the Mookie Betts is just going to flip a switch, or this offense is going to flip a switch, Donnie, and all of a sudden they're going to become this, Toronto, because that's what everyone had expected, is that what Toronto is doing right now offensively, that's what they expected from the Dodgers. But we haven't gotten that, Donnie, and I don't know in an elimination game we get that here tonight either, which means this World Series could be over here tonight.
Crowd is going to be crazy tonight. And by the way, if you are a player, I don't care if you're a superstar or a bench player, you want to be in these game-clinching scenarios. And how about John Schneider says he expects George Springer to return to the Blue Jays lineup for game number 6. You would have to drag me out of that game in a coffin for me not to try to participate in George Springer. I don't care about my oblique. I don't care about my knee injury. I don't care about anything. Put me in that lineup, Coach.
Yeah, well, that's listen, and he will absolutely, because I think he pinch ran in that game in the last game too as well. So yeah, you're going to go with your best and what got you there, right? And that's the other thing, Donnie. Toronto has some options here, and there is no options for the Dodgers. Like, it is all hands on deck. I mean, they're talking about maybe even bringing in, if things start to go sideways, will Ohtani pitch again? This is going to be very interesting to see how Dave Roberts handles this game here tonight. And what is that lineup going to be, Donnie? Are we still putting Mookie Betts third? Is that what we're doing here?
Yeah, look, he makes a lot of money. You can't disrespect him, Joe, by moving him out of there. It's better to have him strike out and clog the bases, per se, up in early in that lineup. But I'll tell you who's not clogging any bases right now and doing some historical things. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., the first player in Major League Baseball history with at least 25 hits, 8 home runs, and 15 RBI in a single postseason. Let me tell you this. He wins the World Series in Toronto here. Just put that statue out front of the Rogers Center. He doesn't have to do another thing in Toronto. Here's the thing when we talk about championships, right? Kawhi Leonard is an interesting individual. He goes to Toronto for one season and wins a championship with the Raptors. If he just re-signed with the Raptors, it would be legendary stuff for the rest of his life, Mr. Canada. But for some reason, he didn't want to stay in Canada. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is the hero that you need in Toronto because not only is a great baseball player, seems like a fun guy, but says all the right things like, I would never play for the Yankees. I don't care what they paid me. And then you might go on and win a World Series in Toronto. Mint this guy as an all-time Toronto legend if he gets this done.
Yeah, absolutely. And kudos to him. His old man was pretty good too, but unfortunately never got to this part of the baseball season and what was a Hall of Fame career. But his kid certainly is, and he has delivered on the biggest stage at the biggest moments here. And when you talk about superstars, Donnie, that is what you want to see. Careers, legacies are made in October. And boy, oh boy, has Vladdy Jr. there put it together in epic fashion. Clearly, I don't know what his price was for the MVP pre-World Series, Donnie. He wasn't the favorite, right?
I don't think so. I don't think he was.
I don't think he was.
But I mean, it's just, it's tremendous stuff to watch it play out. And again, It isn't amazing where you expect your superstars to perform in the biggest moments, and he's absolutely doing that. So is Shohei Ohtani. May the best man win, and we'll see if that means tonight a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. home run or a Shohei Ohtani home run. If we look at that odds market here, Ohtani currently sitting here at a live price of plus 215. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at a 4-1 price. Muncy plus 450. Springer, Will Smith, Freddie Freeman. Somebody probably is going yard tonight, and you got some juicy numbers. And by the way, Joe, we've seen those Ohtani numbers as low as plus 140. So at least, hey, some value at plus 215 here.
Well, and that's the price. He's like Scotty Scheffler in golf. Like, you're never going to get a good number for him to do anything here. But doesn't mean it's a bad play. It just means that you're never going to get any value backing it. But listen, he's been the only guy that has showed up here. And it's not like he's had a great postseason either. He's had huge moments, which kind of have everyone forgetting that he hasn't exactly been crushing the ball here, Donnie, on a consistent basis this postseason. So that's a big ask at that price to lay it down on him.
Now, I'll tell you, here's a big ask now. It's Game 6 and possibly Game 7. The Dodgers were heavy favorites coming into the series, and we saw 3 straight games where the Dodgers, Joe, were favored minus 200 or higher. They're still the favorites tonight, but let's call it minus 145. If we do look at the series price to win now, Joe, is there any optimism as a Dodgers backer where you're almost getting a plus 200 price if they can win Game 6 and Game 7? And understand this, they will be favored in Game 6 and Game 7. Doesn't mean you win, because obviously if that we just bet on odds, Joe, Dodgers should already walked away to a championship. They didn't. Any juice here for you in betting the Dodgers at close to a 2-1 price?
Well, listen, I think anybody that had the Dodgers already got a decent price to hedge on Toronto. But if you had a Toronto ticket, Donnie, now is your opportunity to hedge out on the Dodgers at that price, because you're never going to get it again.
Game 6 tonight. Tom Vecchio on deck on a Football Friday. Let's see what his thoughts on that and also some prop bets in the NFL. We'll be right back.
They got to go win and execute, and they can't be inconsistent. And that's the thing. It's like Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon, really consistent. And then who is that fourth question mark? And there's been inconsistencies throughout. Hey, Michigan goes out to the West Coast and gets manhandled, and then they come back and then they win. Like, who's the consistent one that is the fourth?
The Bobby Carpenter Show, only on SportsGrid.
Listen, never understood a word he said, but it doesn't matter because he was able to walk into living rooms and get kids to sign. It's a little different situation with the NIL now, but the reality is he represents Louisiana. He is Mr. Louisiana. What better? You should have never fired him to begin with in this spot. So, yeah, I hope they do reconsider and bring him back.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
There's a far longer track record of the Chiefs laying huge numbers and not covering them with Mahomes than anything on the contrary.
And they did that a lot last year where they didn't cover those numbers, but a lot of the time last year they didn't have Rice and they weren't fully healthy, and now they are fully healthy. And now we have an offense that has 4 viable receivers, 2 tight ends, and 2 running backs.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
24 points, and 23 rebounds. Folks, let me tell you something. That's 23 rebounds versus Tennessee. Not Tennessee Tech, not Tennessee Chattanooga, not East Tennessee, West Tennessee, South Tennessee. I don't know how many Tennessees they got in that state. That's a university. He did it against Rick Barnes' kids.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Right back at it on a Football Friday, a Halloween edition of the Early Line right here on the SportsGrid Network. It's your boy DRS. It's Joe Ranieri. The screams are enjoyment here because Tom Vecchio is going to join us right here and break it all down. Tom, Halloween costume tonight. Going as a slice of pizza? What do you got, man? Come on now.
Oh, that's good. No, of course not. Going nowhere. I'll be at home.
Oh,
baseball action. I'm not going out. Not at this time of the year. Great weekend of sports coming up, really. If we do get a Game 7 in the MLB, that would be fantastic. Dodgers have to get through Game 6 tonight. I'm ready to roll.
Yeah, we're going to ask you some thoughts about that Game 6 tonight. And for me, again, I'm not a fan of either one of these teams. I'm a fan of big moments. If you do give me a walk-off home run tonight, a la Joe Carter back in the day in Game number 6, fantastic. But if you give me a Game 7 on a Saturday night where I can sleep in and watch that game, woo, boy, sign me up for that. But we are going to watch Game 6, maybe Game number 7. But I'll tell you what we are going to watch on Sunday, 4:25 p.m., Kansas City and Buffalo. Feels like they play every single year. Feels like Buffalo's like, yeah, we'll get you in the regular season, but we're not going to beat you in the postseason. This line sitting at a 1.5-point favorite for Kansas City and a total of 52.5. Two really good teams in the AFC, Tom. How you playing this one?
Well, overall, this is obviously a huge game. And I think this is, again, a bit of a measuring stick game for Kansas City. They've looked fantastic. They beat the Raiders. They smoked them. They beat the Commanders without Daniels. Those aren't the most impressive wins. Has their season actually turned around and now playing a quality team? This is not to say that Buffalo's been cruising. They came in with a big win last week, but prior to that, they were struggling. So, looking at plenty of points being scored in this game, obviously don't mind taking the points with the Bills as a home underdog. But let's turn to James Cook, under 76.5 rushing yards. Historically, he's had a ton of struggles versus Kansas City. Nine carries for 20 yards, 13 for 85. This would put him over 76.5. 18 of 61, 10 of 50, and 2 of 8. The 2 of 8 was in his rookie year. We have to take that with a bit of grain of salt. But the Chiefs right now, they are 8th in defensive rush success rate. And Cook, although I think he's fantastic, I'm not sure he'll have enough carries and or enough explosive runs to truly get him there. I think there will be balance in the offense, but that at the end of the day, Allen's still going to be the main guy with the ball. And if it turns into a shootout, there just won't be enough rush attempts for him.
Well, who's running the ball in this game then, Tom, is my question, because Pacheco's not going, which means Kareem Hunt is got to go. But you're not running. I don't think either of these teams. We know Buffalo is going to want to run, and they are going to force them to be stopped here. Kansas City, what is it going to be here? Is it just Mahomes passing attempts because they're not going to be able to run?
Yeah, that's a good question. Brashad Smith, one of their younger running backs, their third-string running back, has been talked up a good amount. Mahomes likes him. He played receiver in college, so he does have some pass-catching ability. So I would really look at this game as like Andy Reid's going to pull out a bag of tricks of we're going to do the pop passes. We're going to do quick screens. We're going to do bubble screens, whatever it is, in order to emulate a running game. But it's not going to be traditional runs until they get inside the 20, inside the 10. And that's where Kareem Hunt comes in and just grabs you some easy yards and or a touchdown.
Tom, Atlanta got smoked last week by the Miami Dolphins, who got torched last night on Thursday Night Football in an embarrassing performance. They're going around. We're not too sure exactly who the starting quarterback's going to be. We'll probably find out a little bit later today. But Drake May is going to start for New England. New England is a favorite. This look-ahead line was around 3. We're now up to 5.5 to just about every outlet, and a total of 44.5. What's the way you're going to play Atlanta taking on New England?
Atlanta coming off a horrible game, Kirk Cousins in there. Their offense was terrible. They had a fantastic matchup. They didn't get Bijan the ball. Really a fail top to bottom for them. Now they're going up against a team with the Pats who are allowing the second fewest rush yards per game. They're absolutely fantastic. We're assuming that Penix is going to be in there. That's what we should be planning on. Getting Bijan the ball is basically the easiest route for them to succeeding. And when we look at the Pats defense, if you can't rush the ball on them, how can we get Bijan the ball? When you look at the Pats, they've allowed the 6th most receiving yards to opposing running backs. That's sitting up at 317. Getting the ball to Bijan Robinson makes a lot of sense. It also makes sense in terms of this game script. If they are playing from behind, that's why we also see the Pats allowing so many receiving yards to running backs, because they're out in front so many times. Get the ball to Bijan. Try and keep the game close. You're going up against a very good team in New England. I'm not sure if a quarterback who's had his struggles this year in Penix, coming off a game that he missed, is now going to go on the road and come away with the win as an underdog. I think you can operate the offense effectively and halfway decent to try and take some type of silver lining from this game, but I think Bijan has to have the ball a minimum of 18 times for the Falcons to even have a shot in this game. So the Pats are defensively terrible versus running backs in the receiving game. Just give the ball to Bijan there, over 35.5 receiving yards.
Back-to-back weeks of 10 points by this Atlanta offense. Whew. And now, for a team that relies so heavily on running the ball, they're going to go up against one of the best rush defenses in football. This, to me, screams under. What am I missing here? Like, where are the points coming from? Like, Drake May aside, he's been great, but they're going to be waiting for him here, this Atlanta defense, after being embarrassed. So how are we getting points in this game? Who's getting them?
I'm not expecting a whole lot of points, and it's going to get to a certain juncture in the game where if the Pats just have them at arm's reach, they're just going to run the ball. And I know there's a whole conversation between Ramondre Stevenson and Trevion Henderson. No one's being effective in the backfield. But if you are just up 17-3, you're up 20-10, the Pats won't have to pass the ball. They don't even have to be effective at running the ball. They could just keep them at a 2-score lead, and they'll just win the game.
Let's take a look at some Major League Baseball tonight. Game number 6, Tom, in Toronto tonight as a favorite. The Dodgers, always a favorite here. They're not the favorite in the series right now. It's actually the Toronto Blue Jays, a big favorite here. You're getting almost a plus 200 price if you think that the Dodgers can come back in the series. But we're not going to get to a game number 7 without playing game number 6 tonight, Tom. Yamamoto versus Gausman, a total of 7.5, and a favorite, let's call it minus 145, depending where you're shopping at for the Dodgers. Do we see a game number 7, or how do we attack this game tonight in Toronto?
I think the juice has run out for the Dodgers, but if you want a game 7, and that's what you're backing, I would not lay the minus 142. I think it has to be a big Yamamoto game. Over 6.5 strikeouts is plus 108. The Dodgers bullpen has been terrible. Keeping Yamamoto in the game for as long as possible is the best route for the Dodgers to win this. Do not let the bullpen get involved before they have to. So look to a Yamamoto over strikeouts, over outs recorded. And frankly, a Yamamoto at 13-1 MVP price, if they force a game 7, I think they'll win the game 5-1, 3-1, 2-1. They're not going to win this game 7-5. So if they force a game 7, it's going to be solely because Yamamoto is dominant yet again.
Get us to game number 7 and all hands on deck Saturday night. It would be wonderful for us and also the ratings here, unless you have a ticket on the Toronto Blue Jays. That ain't wonderful. Tom Vecchio, he's wonderful. Thanks for joining us. We'll be right back on the early line.
What have the Jays done all season long? And you've seen it, Kev, as a fan of the AL East. They get murdered or lose a heartbreaking game and come back and punch you in the face. They're not. It's what like the old Jays team used to fold, and that's what I used to hate about them. These guys are different. They're like guys you go to war with. It's like, man, you're my buddy. Like, let's go. Like, their clubhouse dynamic, I've never seen a Blue Jay team where everyone gets along.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Going to be called Truth Predict, and it will take bets not just in all 50 states, but worldwide, it says, on political elections. So those are elections potentially involving Donald Trump or, people related to him, interest and inflation rate changes, the price of gold and crude oil, and of course, events across all major sports leagues. Half a dozen states have already filed lawsuits against this.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I think a divorce is coming. I don't think LeBron finishes the year with the LA Lakers. And the Trump card he tried to play has backfired on him big time. And I'm here for all the smoke. I got my marshmallows. I got my skewers. I got the fireplace. I'm going to sit back, kick up my feet, and watch the LA dysfunction play out in real time.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Brock Bowers got a full practice back in. Before he got injured, he looked like he was going to be the wrecking ball we knew he could be. He says he's close to 100%. Also, Jacoby Myers, their top wide receiver, got in the full practice on Wednesday as well. Help is on the way for the Raiders. Not to say that they're going to win this football game or have a great run of the season, but I think you might get a different look Raiders this week with Brock Bowers and the boys coming back.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Let's get ready for week 9 of NFL action this weekend with some news and notes from a game between the Chicago Bears and the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals in this game are home, but they're not favored. It's the Chicago Bears, and quite frankly, the Bears didn't look that good last week, but I guess it's better than what we saw to the Cincinnati Bengals with multiple 2-touchdown leads over the Jets, only to lose to the New York Jets and give them their first win of the season. Brutal stuff, but also the one thing we do know, that Cincinnati offensive line doesn't protect anybody. Joe Burrow, beat, battered. He's done for the year. Now Joe Flacco, he's old. He don't want to get hit. He's got an AC joint sprain in his shoulder. That's never a good sign, but he's trending to play versus the Bears. Good luck with that, I guess.
Yeah, but again, but Flacco gets it because Flacco is also getting the ball out faster than anybody in the NFL since he got under center for the Bengals, which is why, shocker, Jamar Chase and Higgins and company, oh, yeah, now they can run the ball because teams have to worry about Chase and Higgins. Somebody can actually get the ball to them. And the problem is this Bears defense, Donnie, last week, all 3 starting cornerbacks didn't suit up there. And we saw what Tyler Huntley did to them. 2 of the 3 are not playing again this week. And the third, Tyreek Stevenson, still iffy. So that means you're going to have the same backups in that secondary, only this time Flacco's getting the ball to better receivers. So this could be a absolutely wild one with another first one to 40 is going to win the game.
I'll tell you what, Jamar Chase, too, like wide receivers are like interesting individuals where it's like, okay, we're losing, but I'm getting 20 targets a game. That sounds fine to me, which I always laugh. Like A.J. Brown sitting here in Philadelphia gets a ton of targets. They win football games, but then sees guys like Jamar Chase. Wait a second. This guy's getting 20 targets. I don't care if he's losing or not. I want that. Man, wideouts never stop. But again, if you are Joe Flacco, you don't have so many more bullets in that arm. This is one of those games where you probably say, you know what? I could throw a couple tutties against that secondary. Coach, put me in. I am ready to play. You know who else is saying that this weekend? Tyler Shuck here of the New Orleans Saints. Or is he going on the road to take on the Rams as a 2-touchdown underdog? Matthew Stafford and the home team rested and ready, which means Puka Nacua back for some action. That's not what you want to see as a Saints defense here. 43.5 is a total with a line of 14 to 14.5. That's crazy. But you know what? Rams probably going to pound on this young rookie.
Yeah, it's interesting, too, because the betting markets, Donnie, it was a slight move, right, when they announced that Sugar was going to go there. 13.5 to 14. Now it's 14.5 in some spots here. I mean, listen, Spencer Rattler was a turnover machine. So we already know that here. But the Rams, on the other side, they're coming off a bye. They're getting also their starting right tackle, Rob Havenstein, back for this game, in addition to Puka Nacua here. So to me, I think New Orleans from this point out is probably an under team. Maybe look team totals under with New Orleans. But I still think this total is a little too low here because I think the Rams, I think they can put up 40 points themselves in this spot here. No problem.
Yeah, exactly. Matthew Stafford probably have a big day. And by the way, coming off of a performance where he threw 5 touchdown passes. Not to say he's going to do it again, but the Rams probably win this one going away. Rookie quarterback on the road in his first career start. Usually doesn't work out in your favor, but we'll see if he can stay within those 2 touchdowns and possibly cover the spread. Denver and Houston, Bo Nix versus C.J. Stroud, but some help is on the way for the Houston Texans here. Nico Collins clears concussion protocol, says he feels great. He's ready to get back, and also Christian Kirk might make an appearance. Now, also Dalton Schultz has been banged up, shoulder and knee injuries. Not sure if he's going to go, but you have your 2 top pass catchers back in the fold. That's going to help. And also keep in mind, Denver's got a great defense, but down one of the best cornerbacks, and Houston now sits as a minus 1.5 point favorite for this game Sunday, Joe.
And I told you, I am not convinced that C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans offense is somehow fixed because they beat a decimated defense in the San Francisco 49ers. I don't think that was a good test there at all. And don't forget, the only times they've looked good is against defenses that are decimated with injuries. Don't forget the Ravens had missed 5 starters, the Titans, then you got the 49ers. So that's the only time that offense has looked absolutely, has looked anywhere decent. I don't know that happens here, but I'll tell you this. I do think the total is a little too low here, Donnie. I think we might get a few more points in this one than people think. I'd be willing to take a shot at the over here.
Sling it, Bo Nix. And again, this game's going to come down to one of the best pass rushers in the NFL, pass rushes, I should say, in the NFL, maybe NFL history when it's all said and done. Can they protect C.J. Stroud? Also, can you protect your quarterback on Monday Night Football? The Cardinals looking to get Kyler Murray back here. But how about this Polymarket tweet? It says, unfortunate news out of Arizona. The offense looking good for Arizona, and now Kyler Murray comes back in. Tough scene, man. Yep. Tough scene.
Yeah, it's just, that's rough. That is really rough. And you know what? I mean, not for nothing. Brissett looked pretty decent, did he not, here in a couple of starts?
I'll tell you who looks decent. Joe Ranieri and Donnie Wrights out on a Friday on the Sports Grid Network with another hour to go.